Hang on, people. Let's talk about the coronavirus. New York enacting martial law. So New York is saying, of course, the governor had to jump in and save the day. You know how much government comes in to save the day. 1 mile containment area. So normally a containment area is if people are locked in. So he's enacted the National Guard and he's made a containment area. But they said people aren't being contained. Only thing being contained is large gatherings. But they didn't define large. And they didn't define what happens if you gather. Let's take a look at this.
Today in the coronavirus outbreak, the first virus-related death in the tri-state area has been reported.
Oh my goodness, first death. You would think that there have been millions of deaths already. Nope, first one contained. The government jumped in and saved the day. One death.
In New Jersey. In New York, Governor Cuomo announced a containment zone in New Rochelle. He also ordered the National Guard to that area. This afternoon, Connecticut declared a state of emergency. New York and New Jersey have already done that.
Okay, so all these states of emergency, people think, wow, it must really be bad. They're trying to get extra money. When they create a state of emergency, they get extra money, and they get to use the National Guard, and they get to impede on civil rights without consequence, and they get to say it's Trump's fault and look at him saving the day. Trust your government. We're here to help.
All 3 states announced new cases today. In New York, there are more than 170, more than 100 in Westchester County alone. And there are 39 cases in the city, 19 in Nassau County.
So she said 39, but the number showed 36. But Rick, that's not the same. I know, they're just making it up as they go, people.
Rockland currently has 6, Suffolk and Ulster each report 1.
There are 15 cases in New Jersey, and in our area, that includes 4 in Bergen County, 3 in Hudson, 2 in Passaic and Monmouth, and 1 in Union. And Connecticut announced its second case today, a patient who's being treated at Bridgeport Hospital but is not a Bridgeport resident.
We have team coverage. Alice Gaynor has information now about the death in New Jersey. Dick Brennan has the economic impact and federal response. Let's begin tonight. Spread of this coronavirus. Jessica Layton there. Jessica?
Christina Maurice, with this containment zone announced by the governor today, the elementary school here behind me is one of 3 city schools in New Rochelle that will be closed for at least 2 weeks starting tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, they shut down a school for 2 weeks in a containment zone. But it's not a containment of people, it's only large gatherings.
The governor, in his own words, said he knows this is extremely disruptive, but he said given the huge outbreak in New Rochelle right now, it really comes down to life and death.
Huge! Life or death. The governor came in and saved the day. They just announced their first death. Are you kidding me? I bet you 5 people died on a highway today.
Dismissal at Ward Elementary School in New Rochelle Tuesday came with some alarm bells for parents.
It's stressful.
I can tell.
Yeah,
it's very stressful.
It's super stressful.
After learning it was one of 3 city schools to be closed for 2 weeks at the order of the state. Tahani Oliver Batista's 5-year-old is in kindergarten here, and she works full time.
I'm really nervous about that happening because of childcare issues. I don't know what I'm going to do with my kids for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with my kids. I'm so used to the government babysitting them and brainwashing them and indoctrinating them that I don't know what I'm going to do for 2 weeks. I'm going to actually have to take care of my children for 2 weeks. This is just crazy. And the government says they're here helping me. I don't get it.
Having to reevaluate everything, figuring out how you're going to get to work and deal with the kids and stuff like that. It's a little tough.
The school, along with new...
Very tough. I have to deal with my kids when I'm used to just giving them to the government at a government school and letting them deal with them. Shocking.
Rochelle High School and the Albert Leonard Middle School are all within the 1-mile radius of the epicenter of the outbreak, and therefore all part of the so-called containment area announced by Governor Cuomo today.
It is what they call a cluster. The numbers.
Yeah, I've been calling government a freaking cluster for decades. I don't know why he's just getting a memo.
Have been going up.
With 108 confirmed cases in Westchester County, the Cuomo administration's containment plan will include closing schools and large gathering spots like houses of worship in the zone for 2 weeks. The state will...
Oh, houses of worship. So you can't go pray either. But Rick, that's freedom of religion and government can't. Didn't you hear the part where they announced it's a state of emergency and they brought in armed National Guard with guns and the pesky citizens aren't allowed to have guns? How do you not connect the dots? I got to get you guys a box of crayons.
Will also set up a satellite testing facility in New Rochelle.
We're also going to use the National Guard in the containment area to deliver food, to help with the clean.
Oh my God. Don't panic, people. The National Guard is there to help you. They're going to be bringing food and helping you clean. Man, if we only had more government, things would just be so perfect.
Cleaning of public spaces.
It is very important to clarify that this is not an
Dude, that guy's tie on his knot's bigger than his head. Rick, you can't call him a knothead. Well, I just did.
exclusion or quarantine zone. No one is prohibited from entering or leaving the area. This does not affect individual homeowners or families or businesses. It is purely a prohibition on large gatherings in order to make sure that the spread of the virus is mitigated to the greatest degree possible.
And we brought in the National Guard to help you. Excuse me, what's going to happen if people gather? Well, we don't want to talk about that. What is a large gathering? We don't want to talk about that either. Look, just listen, people. It's a state of emergency. Government's there saving the day, and they're bringing the National Guard in to deliver food. Yay, government! I'm so happy. I feel so protected and safe.
A drastic measure, but one people who are most vulnerable to the coronavirus will appreciate.
It is a scary time.
Like stores throughout the state, the shelves in New Rochelle are bare, but the city just got its first shipment of New York's new hand sanitizer, loaded up to be delivered to community spots. Right now, the school district is speaking with reporters, giving them an update on how they will handle the 2-week closure. We can tell you, we saw some parents coming out with letters from the school so they can prove to their workplaces that their child does go to a school that is going to be closed. So hopefully they can get some paid time off from work.
Wow. Don't you love socialism? We'll make a business who's trying to make a profit pay people to stay home with their kids because the government declared a state of emergency to protect you and they brought in a National Guard, and now everyone that owns a business that has employees is expected to pay these people when they're not at work. Guess who will be at work? People who don't have kids. Well, Rick, that doesn't seem fair. Well, that's because the government's involved. It's never fair. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I realize a lot of people were telling me, Rick, they've quarantined all of Italy. It's really bad. I can't say whether it's really bad or not. All we get is what the news media tell us. I'm telling you, I go to the grocery store here in Texas. I don't see anything sold out. I don't see any panic buying. I don't see people running around with masks. So I don't know where these media people are living. Well, yeah, I do. They live in the middle of the liberal cities that they've screwed up and that they're creating a panic. But anyway, I figured I'd put this out there. When I first heard they brought in National Guard, I said, containment area and National Guard, that sounds an awful lot like martial law. But leave it to the government to come up with fancy terms and to make the National Guard your hero, bringing you food, safety, cleaning supplies. Wow, we love the National Guard. If we only had more National Guard to help us and save us. All right, people. Well, in that there,